I really like Terence Crawford, right, because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive, he's due a massive performance, and I think Canelo is made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore.
I know his spirit.
Yeah?
He got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out, and then they just...
What you're about to witness is absolutely mind-blowing. Terence Crawford just wrapped up what could be the most intense training camp of his entire career, and the footage that's emerged is sending shockwaves through the entire boxing world. We're talking about a man who's about to attempt something that most experts said was completely impossible, jumping from welterweight all the way up to super middleweight to face one of the most feared champions in boxing history, Canelo Alvarez. But here's the thing that's got everyone's jaws on the floor. Crawford doesn't just look ready for this fight. He looks like he was born for it.
Hey, I appreciate you. Everything that you've done for me. You and Riyadh City.
You must
The job ain't done yet.
Yeah.
The job ain't done yet.
Yeah.
But listen,
Saturday, deliver the job.
but listen, I appreciate the opportunity.
No retirement.
Let's get it. Yeah.
The final day of Crawford's training camp was nothing short of extraordinary. As cameras rolled, capturing every single moment, we witnessed something that boxing fans will be talking about for decades to come. Taki Alalshik, the man who made this seemingly impossible fight happen, was right there in the gym, showing his unwavering support for Crawford. And let me tell you, the energy in that room was absolutely electric. You could literally feel the tension, the anticipation, the sheer determination radiating from every corner of that training facility. Crawford himself was visibly emotional as he expressed his gratitude toward Turkey for being there and helping him throughout this incredible journey. But what really caught everyone's attention was Crawford's mindset, despite all the grueling preparations, all the doubts from critics, all the questions about whether he could compete at this weight. The man was radiating pure confidence. He looked directly into the camera and made it crystal clear that while he appreciates everything that's gotten him to this point, the job is not finished yet. Those words sent chills down the spine of every boxing fan who heard them.
How do you see this fight with Canelo going?
I'm definitely going to win the fight, for sure. But, I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think he's going to bring the best out of me. I'm going to bring the best out of him, and it's going to be exciting.
But what we saw during Crawford's final stretch of preparation was absolutely mind-boggling. This wasn't just your typical training camp. This was a masterclass in dedication, determination, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Crawford was sparring with an intensity that would make seasoned veterans question their career choices. Every single movement was calculated, every punch thrown with devastating precision, every defensive maneuver executed to absolute perfection. His team wasn't just going through the motions, they were sharpening a weapon that's about to be unleashed on one of boxing's most dominant champions.
But right now, I'm not training hard. I'm not even training, really. I don't want to overtrain because me personally, when I go in the gym, I give my all, and I don't want to burn myself out.
The level of discipline and focus that Crawford maintained throughout this camp was something to behold. His coaches repeatedly emphasized that no stone was left unturned in their preparation. Every aspect of Crawford's game was dissected, analyzed, and perfected. His offensive output remained crisp and powerful, but what really stood out was his mental conditioning. This is a fighter who thrives under pressure, and facing Canelo Alvarez, arguably the biggest test of his career, seemed to bring out something special in Crawford. He understood the magnitude of what he was about to attempt, but instead of being intimidated, he channeled that energy into unshakable self-belief.
No, está como dicen muchos, está cabrón. Está preparado, está listo, a pesar de venir de una categoría muy abajo, subir a la 168, pues yo tengo los sparring con él. Tanto lo he ayudado como he sentido que él me ha ayudado también a mí. Entonces, anteriormente estaba enfocado en ayudarlo, pero luego que me dijeron que yo iba a pelear, ¿sabes qué? Necesito ayudarte, pero que me ayudes. Y ya en el ring nos entendemos. Yo casi no hablo inglés. Todavía voy practicándolo, pero en el ring nos entendemos muy bien. Y hay una buena vibra, pero él está listo. Y yo también estoy listo.
El tema del peso, ¿cómo crees lo afectará en la noche de la pelea haciendo sparring con él?
¿Cómo?
Haciendo sparring con Terence, la gente habla, pues el Canelo es muy grande, sí. 2 categorías.
Bueno, en realidad en tamaño creo que están iguales, pero en diferencia de peso, sí, a lo mejor Canelo está más acostumbrado a esa categoría que Terence, pero te digo, vengo haciendo sparring con él desde que estaba en las 147 libras, mi primer sparring con él en las 147, yo era ya 168, sigo siendo 168, y lo único que hizo ahora pues es subir de peso, aumentar de peso, y sí se siente muy diferente haber hecho sparring con él en 147 y ahora hacer sparring con él en 168. Pero yo creo que...
¿Cómo se siente diferente?
En el sentido que le he sentido más pegada, más explosivo, la rapidez, el snap lo tiene todavía el cabrón, no lo ha perdido, lo he sentido, pero creo que la nutrición que lleva, el equipo de trabajo con el que tiene.
Now, here's where things get absolutely fascinating. Former champion Duke McKenzie dropped a bombshell analysis that's got the entire boxing community buzzing. McKenzie boldly predicted that Crawford is literally tailor-made to dismantle Canelo Alvarez, and his reasoning is absolutely compelling. According to McKenzie, when you really examine Canelo's recent opponents, they weren't truly elite fighters. McKenzie argued that Crawford presents a unique challenge unlike anything Canelo has ever faced before, and the evidence he presented was jaw-dropping.
Years. When you look, since he's been off the mad cow meat, right? You look at his last 5 fights. He's boxed ordinary fighters, you know. And they're not in the same league. They're really not in the same league. And I think to myself, his last 5 fights, even what's that kid's name? Hamza Shiraz, right? Mm-hmm. So he boxed in his last fight. He knocked out, what's the kid's name?
Belanga.
Right, he knocked out Belanga. Belanga took your man there. He took him the distance. Now, you only got to balance it up. If Belanga can take him the distance, you got to say to yourself, what is Terence Crawford going to do to Canelo Cotto. I've got the names mixed up. Yeah, right. So what's he going to do to you know what? I look at the fight and I think to myself, I really like Terence Crawford, right? Because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive performance. And I don't think Canelo's made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore. You don't get any head movement from him anymore. He doesn't show you a punch and hit you with another one anymore. There's no variety in his whole sort of makeup. And I look at him and I think to myself, Canelo's become, just in my opinion, I think he's become a little bit pedestrian in as much as goes in straight lines, comes out in straight lines. There's no urgency to his work.
McKenzie broke down Crawford's advantages with surgical precision. His versatility, his ability to adapt mid-fight, his natural ring IQ. These are weapons that Canelo simply hasn't encountered at this level. But what really caught everyone's attention was McKenzie's brutal assessment of Canelo's recent performances. He pointed out that Canelo doesn't fight with the same urgency anymore. His head movement has dramatically decreased, and has lost that variety in his punch combinations that once made him so dangerous. McKenzie described Canelo's current fighting style as pedestrian, relying on straight-line approaches that could play directly into Crawford's hands.
Don't win fights. And everybody, it seems like, that says muscles don't win fights usually have ridiculous muscle mass. Like Devin Haney was like, muscles don't win. And Devin's like way bigger than everybody else at 135 pounds and jacked to the gills. That's that snack shit. Okay, we're not doing that. But Terence Crawford also on that snack shit. Anyway, Bud Crawford did just drop a body transformation pic. Let's take a look at it. Boom! Son, I'm sorry, I have a flat tire. Does anyone have a jack to help me out? Oh, thank you, Bud Crawford. You're actually huge. The man has abs on his abs on his abs. I'm not trying to glaze, but that doesn't look like a 147-pounder. It doesn't look like a 154-pounder. That looks like A grown man. He's definitely put some weight on, coming to 168 pounds. And I can tell you that. Now, take what I'm about to show you with a grain of salt, because it is on weigh-in day, but look at what he was at 140 pounds. Now, again, he's out of camp. Hasn't made the weight cut yet, but that's him right now. But I mean, that is crazy. Couple of things. Yes, muscles don't win you fights, and the biggest question we have to ask now is, how will this newfound muscle mass affect Bud Crawford in the fight? Because one of the things I have said continuously about this fight is that the weight issue has been completely overblown by people. And what I mean is, there is not a massive weight disparity between these two fighters. What Canelo walks around at and what Terence Crawford walks around at is probably similar, and maybe Terence Crawford even weighs a little more. I don't know. I saw the picture of the scale of him at 186. It may be a little less when he's normally not trying to gain weight, but that's not the point of the weight difference. The point of saying there is a weight difference is that Canelo Alvarez has consistently fought and been successful at 160 to 168.
The switch-hitting style that Crawford brings to the table was highlighted as a potential game changer. McKenzie suggested that while Canelo might be due for a massive performance, he simply isn't made for the kind of problems that Crawford presents. This analysis sent shockwaves through social media, with fans and analysts debating whether McKenzie's assessment was spot on or completely off base.
On the first part, return the favor. But Turkey, in a second thought, said, no, I'm going to deliver this message. He goes back to Bud, and he says, and don't retire after this. Don't retire.
No retirement. Let's get it. Yeah.
That's what Turkey meant when he was trying to say, return the favor.
You must retire. Yeah.
I did this for you. You got this big fight. Yeah, the job ain't done. Deliver the job. But don't retire. Return the favor. That is the most important part, and we're going to break that down. The deliver the job thing, that is more of a language difference, okay? Because Bud is saying, listen, the job ain't done. He said, oh yeah, deliver the job Saturday. Mostly meaning put on a good fight. Fight your heart out. If you win, cool. That'll be best if you win. But I'm just saying it's not about winning. Winning is about trying. Winning is about going for greatness. Marvelous Marvin Hagler wasn't undefeated. Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, Muhammad Ali, Sam Langford, Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, some of these Gene Tunney, some of the greatest fighters of all time, Willie Pep, Sammy Sadler. These guys weren't undefeated, right? But that's what made them great, is that they were taking on all challenges. His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh knows that the product isn't the fighter. The product is the sport. So he's trying to put on the best matches, which is why he's saying, don't retire, return the favor, because I got more ideas.
But perhaps the most stunning development in this entire saga was how Crawford silenced every single critic who questioned his ability to compete at this weight class. Remember, the initial criticism was brutal. Everyone said Crawford would be undersized, that he couldn't compete with Canelo's natural power and frame. Well, recent training footage has completely obliterated those concerns. Crawford's physical transformation has been nothing short of remarkable. We're talking about a fighter who looks larger, stronger, and more conditioned than ever before, and it's causing analysts to completely change their predictions.
I know his spirit.
Yeah?
Yeah, he got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out, and then they just, you know, I've been like that with them niggas. Like, I didn't watch Crawford. I didn't hung out with this nigga. This is my boy. Like, this nigga got a killer in him. You know, Canelo better be fucking ready. Like, this nigga got a killer in him, bro.
The weight issue that dominated pre-fight discussions now seems completely irrelevant. Crawford's ability to bulk up while maintaining his legendary speed and precision has stunned everyone who doubted him. Some experts are now predicting not just a Crawford victory, but a potential knockout. The supposed size advantage that Canelo was expected to have is being seriously questioned, and it's all because of what we're seeing from Crawford in these training videos.
Think of anybody, especially someone who hasn't even competed in that division. So, Yeah, I can't think of anybody. And to think that Crawford, started out at 135. I mean, the last guy I can think of doing that would have been Duran, but I think Duran went up and won the title at middleweight, and he didn't do it all in one fell swoop. It was one weight category after another. Leonard at 35, Davey Moore at 54, then Iran Barkley at 60. I mean, it just kept moving up, but I don't know of anybody that's gone from 35 up to 168 and basically leapfrog the division. So from champion at 147, one fight at 154, and then leapfrogs over an entire section of top 10 contenders at 168 pounds, never having fought at 168. Oh, leapfrogs 160, over into the contenders at 168, right into a title shot. I can't think of anybody that's done that. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. Tommy, over the last couple of years, I think Canelo's come to rely on his power. Do you think that'll be enough against Crawford's ring IQ and his combinations and footwork?
I can't think of any fighter where punching power alone is enough. So, Canelo has come around with two things, punching power and defense. He's still very, very difficult to hit, which allows him to load up on shots and get into the range that he wants to get into, where he can fire away with hard punching power, not setting them up as much as he used to in the past, not having that, that same work rate that he used to have. But if he's just thinking of going out there looking for that one shot.
The body transformation photos that Crawford released were absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about a dramatic difference between his physique at 140 and what he's showing now. The muscle development, the weight gain. It's like looking at a completely different fighter. But here's what's really interesting. Analysis suggests that the weight disparity between these two fighters has been completely overblown. Their walking weights are apparently much more similar than anyone realized, with Crawford possibly even weighing more than Canelo naturally.
Now, when he fought Israel Madrimov, that was at the 154-pound weight limit. But when Crawford actually got into the ring on fight night, he was actually the heavier of the two men, clocking in at 169.8 pounds. We'll call it 170 just for the ease of the video, but 170 pounds at 154. That's a very, very solid rehydration. That is a very good weight for a 154-pound fighter. And our man Canelo Alvarez gives us evidence and testament to this. I've gone back through the years to have a look at what Canelo weighed in the ring when he fought 154 pounds to give us context as to the size difference. And don't get me wrong, Canelo will be bigger now than he was back then, but Crawford will be too. Crawford will also put that extra size on. And whilst he's not experienced fighting with the extra weight, it will give us some kind of understanding of how much of an issue it might be. We'll take everything into account, but just to begin with, how big is the size difference? Well, going back and looking at some of these fights, we'll start with the Floyd Mayweather fight. So that was at 152-pound catch weight. And I said in my tactical video that Canelo was dehydrated for that one, that he wasn't at his maximum capability. Now, I still stand by that assessment because he was so green in his career and because I feel his best performances have come at higher weight classes, and especially where he's not been having to cut lots of weight. But just for context in that one, he was 165 pounds in the ring versus Floyd that night. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather weighed 150.5 pounds, so there was actually a 14.5-pound weight difference that night. So you start to understand where I'm going with this in this video. I want to look at the context of where there's been weight gaps before. So someone who was 14.5 pounds lighter than Canelo was able to beat him on that night. Now look, Mayweather is an all-time great. Mayweather was unbelievably skilled and had soldiers tied up in knots. He couldn't do anything with him. But let's look at some other fights for some more context. When he fought Austin Trout, they were around about the same when they got in the ring. When they fought at 154 pounds, Canelo was 172 and Trout was 171. And that's really interesting to look at because that tells us that Canelo was only a couple of pounds heavier than Crawford when rehydrated, when he fought at 100.
The key point that everyone's missing is that while Canelo has been consistently successful at 160 to 168 pounds, Crawford is making this massive jump in one incredible leap. Scale photos showing Crawford at 186 pounds have left fans speechless, proving that this transformation is absolutely real and potentially game-changing.
Also added that when Crawford said that he's gonna fight Canelo at 168, that he was completely fine with it because Crawford is already a natural big guy to begin with, and that once again, contrary to popular belief, Canelo is not the bigger guy. Basically, if anything, it's easier for Crawford because he's no longer gonna have to drain himself.
Now, here's where things get controversial. Analyst Showbiz The Adult dropped some explosive speculation about the possibility of this fight being fixed, and his reasoning is causing massive debates across social media. The speculation centers around Turki Alshik's involvement and some cryptic messages that were captured on camera. When Turkey was heard telling Crawford not to retire after the Canelo bout, some interpreted this as a potential code, suggesting a return to favor situation since Turkey played such a crucial role in making this fight happen.